So it's been really interesting to see how this has evolved. And I want to get a sense of who's here. How many people here kind of work for big companies, like 500 people or more? Okay, several of you. Mid-size? Any startups, entrepreneurs, hobbyists? Okay, great. And so you've seen some of the things that have changed along the way with just kind of the proliferation of devices, people bringing their own devices, the BYOD, bring your own device into the organization. So kind of what I wanted to talk about today is just kind of the opportunities from whether you're running a line of business application all the way to if you're a hobbyist and a startup, kind of the things to be thinking about and how to capitalize on some of these opportunities in this devices and services economy. So the days of client-server aren't over. That it is still alive and well in many organizations, but there's many things that are challenging now. There's a lot more devices coming into the organization, and it really does provide opportunities. I mean, the bring your own device is the bane of your IT department's existence because it creates all kinds of security issues. But the convergence of devices into the corporate world, you have to start thinking about how to kind of manage that, as well as what the opportunities are. And so some of the opportunities are just the proliferation of apps and the different experiences that you could help with your constituents within a company, as well as some of those new customers that you're trying to get, and many different types of monetizing those kinds of applications. But the challenge for developers is can you build once and publish many? That's not a reality yet today. Not only can you not do that from device to device, but even within an operating system on the next version, sometimes that code doesn't translate. So how do you really try to capitalize and make the best use of your skills and the best use of your time? Those are some of the challenges we're facing today. But when you think about it in terms of opportunities as a consumer, think how great it is. So I don't know how many of you use SkyDrive, but it's our cloud solution. I could pick up any device. I could take my phone, my Surface, my laptop. I have all of my documents and everything I need across all those devices. I don't need to sync. It's all in SkyDrive. As a consumer, I love that. And so how do you start thinking about your consumers that way, both within your company or as a startup? And the opportunities are really endless, whether you're using AWS, Amazon Web Services, or our Azure platform for dev and test. There's a lot of things you just got to start trying and seeing what's out there. And I think you'll get even more ideas on how to make the best of some of these emerging technologies. So some fun facts for you to share with your families and friends and wow them. So devices. I mean, there are just so many devices today. So think about how many you collect. I've got my Fitbit, whose little flower is small because I haven't been doing a whole lot of walking today. We've got this incredible, I think you've probably seen the ads for the new Nokia 1020 and the camera that it has. You want to try taking a picture of our audience? So there's just tons and tons of devices. So in 2008, the number of devices connected to the internet exceeded the number of people on Earth in 2008. Start thinking about, when you think about devices, so most people think about, the phone. If you ask someone what's a device, they think about your phone. But when you start adding all the devices out there, the Garmin, the Fitbit, the little gadget you stick in a pot so your little plant can tweet you and tell you that it needs more water, the interactive T-shirts, medical devices that help save people's lives. So when you add all those, it really grows. By 2020, it's said that there's going to be over 50 billion devices connected to the internet. 50 billion. I mean, I can't even wrap my head around that number and what that means. But think about what that means for you, for your careers, for your opportunity to monetize the applications that you're creating. I think, I've got a couple of different little tidbits here. I mean, you think about 50 billion, think about opportunities in China. How can you reach that kind of audience? How can you optimize for experience from different size screens? I mean, the screen size on this is itty bitty, right? And then to very, very large screens. Those are some of the considerations you have to take into account as you're thinking about how do I manage my career? How do I continue to do well as a developer? So some ways to think about this and frame this, because approaching it, and it could be daunting. It's like, oh my God, I have to optimize for an 8-inch screen, for a 17-inch screen, for the phone. And so it really becomes daunting on where to start. And so when we looked at it, we try to kind of simplify like how to look at this and where to start. So when you think about who's your audience, who's your end consumer for that app that you're developing, whether it's you're optimizing for the client server on a PC or down to the phone. So when you think about it, for the PC, this is really a device for creating content. Those people who create content. Those like me, who I think are strong Office users. Those people are living in PowerPoint, Excel. They're writing a lot of emails. The PC is a great device for that. It still is. But then there's this explosion of tablets. How are people using those today? It's people who are consuming content. They might do a short email, but it's consuming content. It's browsing. It's playing a game. Consumption of content. Or if you want to go down to the phone, it's those quick communications. It's voice, it's the short email, it's texting, it's tweeting. So think about your audience and think where to start. And even these worlds are converging. Right here I'm using a ThinkPad, a Lenovo Carbon up here, which has a keyboard and a touch-enabled screen. I love that. Even down there, you see some of the surfaces that we've come out with, and we've got a whole device bar out there if you want to go play. We've got a whole keyboard that connects to a touchscreen device, and all of our interns this year at Microsoft, we gave them Surfaces as their primary device, and they're loving it. So there's a lot more trends, and there's things that we haven't even thought about that are going to be emerging. So how do you optimize now to make sure that what you're building will have a sustained life cycle? And then just think about kind of this world, in the PC world, it was a world of peripherals. And now you're going to be moving more to this sensor-related code, touch-related code. How do you optimize, build first for that touch environment? So with Microsoft and with Windows, we're really trying to help you get the best use of your skills. And so with the Windows environment, you use your existing skills, whether you use HTML5, JavaScript. Jeremy will show some ways that Hulu's doing this and building for multiple platforms. XAML. We have even a lot of people are using app frameworks today, like Xamarin. And starting with that and building apps. There's a lot of better ways that are coming out these days to get started. We rebuilt this thing from scratch, right? So we haven't had a whole evolution and revolution of an operating system like this since Windows 95. And so we did touch first. And we've had mixed press because if you are a hardcore PC user, the touch thing feels a little scary. But if you are, if you're an iPad lover and you're kind of like, that's kind of interesting. We'll see, maybe I'll try that. And then for developers, especially if you're a startup, we are integrating the store, the Windows App Store in every device that we ship. And this is across PCs, on the Surfaces, on the RTs, on the Surface Pros. That's a pretty big audience that you can touch. And with phone, which it's nice, if you start building now and you say, I want to have it on a phone and I want to have it on a tablet, you start with Windows and you're able to do both because it's a shared core on the phone with Windows 8. So it makes it much simpler to span across many devices. There's the common programming model, there's your skills portability, and it's a consistent user experience. People like that. I want my PC to look very much like my phone. I don't have to relearn. That's a good thing. But if I haven't convinced you yet, let me kind of give you some of the numbers and kind of where we're sitting in the market today as Microsoft as we enter this app economy, as we enter this device world. We have over 100 million licenses sold with Windows 8. But I think the more amazing ones are kind of these two here where 90% of our app catalog gets downloaded monthly. 90%. Our competitors are at 50% or less. There's a lot of people using our apps. And it's amazing. Like if you think you've seen a lot of the Surface commercials, it feels like this has been around for a long time. It's only been 8 months. So within 8 months, we've had 100,000 apps hit our store, and so we're feeling pretty good about that. On the other side, the Windows Phone. Windows Phone's been around a little bit longer. It's a little more mature platform for Microsoft. We've got 170,000 apps in our store, 2 billion downloads, 191 countries. So Windows Phone, this is a fun stat. Windows Phone is, can you guess where it is the #1 market share? In which country it has the #1 market share? Any guesses? Nope. Italy, Vietnam, Thailand. So it's just kind of fun. It's fun to see, like, hey, we're getting momentum. We've surpassed BlackBerry in market share. So we're here to stay, and we're pretty proud of some of the things we've accomplished. But I think even more, so thinking about your opportunities as developers as you develop these apps. Windows, and if you combine Windows 8 and the Windows RT, we have over 3,000 certified systems. 3,000 different devices can carry your app. Not a few dozen, not a few hundred, 3,000. So big opportunity for you. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Jeremy, and he's going to show you a quick demo and some of the cool things that Hulu did. Jeremy?
Thanks, Tricia. I'm going to use this one. There we go. We got it on. Yeah. So this phone that Tricia handed me, by the way, is the new Nokia Lumia 1020. It has a 41 megapixel camera on it. My colleague has this phone. He actually was at a pub, couldn't read the menu, took a picture, zoomed in on the camera, and was able to read the menu from there. So that's extremely impressive. I think that's about 3 times the number of pixels that my nice camera has at home. I'm going to take this opportunity to kind of try to put some pictures to Tricia's words and convince you that this platform is a really elegant and unified platform for the consumer, and we're all consumers. Like if I had you raise your smartphones in the air right now, it would be everybody in the room, right? We're all the consumers, but many of us are also developers. And this is an elegant and unified platform for both. And that's important because the developers are who are going to make these apps for the consumers. So I'm going to show this off with a couple of apps that just really shine on the platform. One of them is a partner of ours and probably familiar to you, and that is Hulu. I don't even need to search for it because I've got Hulu pinned on my start screen here with, let me get that to the right screen. I've got Hulu Plus pinned to my start screen here. And this is, actually I'm going to duplicate this just to make it a little bit easier on myself. This is the Windows 8 app, obviously. And the Windows 8 app is a beautiful immersive experience, and I can launch it right there from my start screen. But I can not only launch it, it's not just telling me that, I've got a button I can click, but it's also going to bring whatever show I'm watching or whatever's the trending shows on Hulu down to me, right to my start screen. That's the very first screen I see when I turn on my computer. So that's important for Hulu. Their stuff is on the very first screen that a user sees, and that's important to you. You're an app developer with a brand, with information, with content. With Windows, you're bringing that directly to the very first screen that the user sees. So this is a really elegant and immersive graphic platform. We have not only a development platform and a development language, but we also have a design language that supports all this. So I can switch through these hero picks, and I can flip through this and drill into the individual categories. This is the Windows 8 that you've probably seen already. Now what I also have is Windows Phone 8 next to me, and I'm going to launch a little viewer here, and I'm going to show you the same app now on Windows Phone 8, okay? So it's not the same exact assembly, but there's a lot in common between these two, and I've got a resource on that I'll show you in just a second. So here's Hulu on the phone. Very similar design language. It's going to be very familiar to the users. They're going to feel like this is something that they just saw while they were at home on their 50-inch TV, and now they're on the bus and they're doing the exact same thing. That's the unification. Okay, that's the elegance to the consumer, and that's really important. Now, this Hulu app is, if you go to, I made this URL for you, if you go to aka.ms/build-hulu, it'll take you to the build session where Hulu was actually on stage talking about how they got over 60% code sharing between these two apps on these different platforms. And as you know, Hulu's on a lot of platforms. They want to be on every platform that's there, obviously, and probably you do too. So you can go to aka.ms/buildhulu and you can get an idea of how that works. Let's look at another app. This is a game. This is called Skulls of the Shogun. And Skulls of the Shogun is a fun and immersive game. I'll wait for the audio for the phone game, but we've got a game here where we get to, as soon as I acknowledge and read the funny bubbles, this is actually very appropriate for families because there's no killing in this game because everybody's already dead. This is the afterlife, and you can't beat a game where you're in the afterlife and you're a samurai with an incredible mustache. So that's exactly what we have here. So I get to walk around, and this is a large enough screen that I get to really enjoy myself. I can if I've got a tablet on the bus or whatever, I can really enjoy this. Well, I can also drop down and let's look at the phone again, and let's see that I've got Skulls of the Shogun on my phone, and this is going to be talking to the same back end. It's going to be picking up my game exactly where I left off. I'm going to open Skulls of the Shogun on my phone, and now I'm really portable. Now we've got the audio. And it's going to pick up my game exactly where I left off, or I'm going to be able to do Skulls Anywhere and play against people from wherever. So I just go ahead and continue. Here I am at the same place. It's saved where I'm at in the game. Wanderer Archer, I am the great Lord Akamoto. Join my army. All right. So that's a user experience that users love. People that use the phone and that use the tablet and that use these immersive experiences love this, and you have this opportunity as a developer, okay? Now, it's also a unified and elegant language platform for you as the developer, and I just want to show that off just a little bit. So I'm going to jump over to the much-loved Visual Studio. I don't think it's a stretch to say the best IDE in the whole world. And I'm writing in HTML right now. This is a language that's absolutely everywhere. It's welcomed right into Windows 8. You can make apps with HTML and JavaScript. They're not running in a browser. They're running native on the machine with full access. If you saw my session yesterday, I talked about this ad infinitum. I'm going to go ahead and write some HTML right in front of you. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to write myself a div called myDiv with a table. Let's got a standard class, and maybe I want a TR and I want a TD with some lorem ipsum text inside of it, say 10 words of lorem ipsum, and I'm good. And I go ahead and tab, and I'm using what's called Zen coding to turn that little Zen expression into the full HTML. And by the way, I actually wanted 5 of those cells instead of just 1, so now I've got 5 cells. This is the power of Visual Studio. I'm going to take, in this first cell, I'm going to go ahead and write for myself a little form tag. So I'm going to do an input with a type of text, and I want 3 of those. So there we go, I've got my input tags. And I can do something like this. Block selection in Visual Studio allows me to make an insertion pointer that spans lines, and now I can determine that I want all 3 of those tags to be required by typing on multiple lines at the same time. That's pretty fun. I can then go up here to my table tag and collapse it, and here we go. I want this div to actually be a section. Notice that the closing tag changed at the same time as the opening tag. So some of these things, some of these mere usabilities in the IDE make it awesome, let alone the fact that when I hit File New Project, I can make any kind of project. I can make cloud projects, database projects, projects for the phone and for the tablet. They can all exist in the same solution. So they can reference each other. It's pretty exciting. And like I said, you've got this ability to choose your language as a developer. Are you down in the metal? Are you a C++ native developer? First of all, good for you. You're always going to have a job. Second of all, you can make Windows 8 apps using that language. Are you more of a web developer? You've been doing forms and front ends and stuff that you can distribute to your entire audience across the world with a click of a button? Good for you. You're always going to have a job. I'm going to show you a demo. This is in a project that I work on called Code Show, and this demo is actually something that I did just a couple nights ago. I basically went and took a common framework in the JavaScript world, and I brought it into a Windows 8 app. It took me very little time. And what this framework is, D3, and it's data-driven documents, and it allows you to take mass amounts of data and visualize them really easily. So this is a live rendered image of the state of Alaska where I'm from. This is not just a JPEG or a PNG. This is actually the lines drawn from a huge amount of JSON data. Here's a similar chart that was drawn from this, and you can see that this is all interactive. I don't even know what a chord diagram is, but I thought it looked pretty, like I hope you do. And then here's a force-directed graph. So this is JavaScript running. Now keep in mind that this entire thing is hardware accelerated, so you get native performance on your tablet, on your TV, on your computer. You get native performance from JavaScript from this. And that means that when I drag these around, I get really good responsiveness, okay? So I just wanted to show you a little bit as a consumer, which I know you all are, and as a developer, which I know at least most of you are, about the Windows 8 platform and the way that it offers an elegant and unified experience that we think people love.
Thank you. Am I back on? Yes, I am. All right. Split screen.
You do need your slides, right?
Yeah. All right, let's go to the very last one. Okay, there we go. All right. Finish up. When you get out of here, when you get a break, take a look at our device bar. And today I'm happy to announce that we have a new rewards program out there, App Builder Rewards. Build apps, get rewarded. Join App Builder. It's a fun way, an interactive way. We try to gamify the experience for you to gain points and get rewards and learn how to build these apps and get them out faster. And then you get some great rewards as you get your app into the store. We have a special promotion here. If you go out to our device bar, we have it out there in case you can't remember the promo code, ModevTablet Rewards, to earn bonus points. But we really appreciate you having us here today, taking a closer look at Microsoft, and enjoy the rest of the conference. Thank you.